This is a longer delay. There we go. Cursed.
Cursed? No, we're not cursed. We are on the road to the 2026 St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. And of course, we have another great guest. We have another special guest. Woo! And Woo is right. This gentleman is soon to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He has a 30-plus year career in wrestling. He has done everything you can. This is going to be a story-filled night. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the Black Glove, Butch Fletcher. There he is. Look at there he is.
But what the
There's
heck?
the suit. Where'd he go?
I don't know. Wow.
Buttons. We lost him.
Shit. No. Is he? He's
There
back.
There's the soon-to-be double Hall of Famer, but we're going to get into that in a minute. Mr. Fletcher, how are you this evening?
Hi, I'm doing great. I was sitting here thinking, it was actually closer to about 38 years, I think.
Well, I'm going to have to double check my sources because I have a 30-plus year career, which still almost over 3 decades in the sport and the entertainment.
Almost
that we've
4,
come to love
Pony Boy.
today.
You can't
4,
count
okay.
past 10.
I can't. 40 is
I think
closer to
5.
38. But, we want to say thank you for coming on tonight.
For having me.
This is I kind of told you earlier, we spoke about it. This is a great pleasure for me, Tom, and everybody else, a part of the production team, is we are big wrestling fans and nerds, and to have the men and women that have paved the way to what we have now come on, and we can hear the stories and see what you guys went through. It is just a treat and a half for us. So again, thank you very much.
Well, you got to think about it too. I mean, the guys who got into the business started out as great wrestling nerds.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna keep that cycle going. So the one thing I've come to love asking in this whole event we've done with the St. Louis and the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. I can never get it right.
Use your words, Pony Boy.
Is everybody's story of getting into wrestling and why they fell in love with it is so different, but yet so similar at the same time. What was your start? What made you fall in love with professional wrestling?
I actually came into it from several angles. Actually, I started off when I was a kid. My dad was a big wrestling fan. I didn't find this out until after he passed away.
Whoa.
But
he was a closeted wrestling fan then?
No, my dad was a big wrestling fan. After he passed away, and I had started going into wrestling, and I didn't understand why he was so hostile toward me about going into wrestling. Well, he tried to go into wrestling, and he couldn't because of his heart condition. He had a heart condition. He had a heart murmur, and that's what they told him, that they didn't. I think it was some other things. I think he might have washed out, but still in the same vein, that was, to me, it's just what I heard about it. And my mom was like, "Yeah, he just never said anything to you because he didn't want to upset you or do anything." I said, "Man, upset? Hell, that's pretty cool to have it." I said, "At least he tried, And some of the other guys, some of the other guys I know, they're saying they're second, third generation wrestling. I won't go so far as to say I was second generation or third generation wrestler or whatever. But, because I am adopted by my grandfather, and my birth father was still around for quite a while. But my grandfather was the one who tried to become a wrestler, and he, it was in the 40s, 50s, stuff like that. And I mean, it was just a lot harder to get in than it was when I got in. And I was a lot harder than these guys get it now. I know you hear it from these guys all the time about it, but it's truth.
You know, and you know, I'm kind of, that's kind of what we've been hearing, and like I kind of said, like everybody's wrestling journey start is different, but it always seems to come back to the family aspect of, you know, I used to sit there and watch it on Saturdays with my grandfather, or you know, my dad watched it, and it's kind of
My
funny.
family hated it, except Billy.
That
Billy
is true.
liked
That's
it.
why.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he came over to my house to watch it all the time. Do you think, and we're kind of going to go because you have the knowledge and the experience from back in the day wrestling to what we have now, do you think that the family aspect of it from back in the day has been lost to what we have now?
It hasn't. It hasn't. I mean, it's kind of evolved with the. It's evolved with the years. Man, I'm getting tongue tied all over the place today.
It happens, you know. It's you know, it happens.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling's been like evolving for I mean longer than all of us have been alive together, put together, you know. And it's been evolving since the 1800s. It's been evolved through the, like I said, the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. There's been peaks and valleys in wrestling where wrestling was almost dead. That they had that toward the 60s and the 70s, and then you had you had the WWE came in and just wiped out wrestling as the guys in my age group kind of grew up with. You know, I used to sit up and watch on KPLR Channel 11 wrestling at the Chase, and I'd sit up in the middle of the night and watch it Saturday night. And my dad, he's working at the Illinois American Water Company at the time, and well, he worked all my life that I knew.
Holy shit.
And he'd come by, pick me up after working 4 to 12, and he said, "Come on, let's go out and get some dinner." We talk about what I saw on TV, you know. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a family thing for a lot of people in St. Louis. They talk about, well, they go to church and come back in time for Grandma to watch pro wrestling at 11 o'clock on Channel 11, which was actually the same thing they showed at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning after the movies. They would show wrestling at the Chase, and then they'd show it again at 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning.
Oh, hell
Same
yeah.
thing.
My grandmother hated wrestling. I don't know if she so much hated the wrestling on TV, but when you have, and Tom can testify for this, my older brother, me and my little brother, we had bunk beds. So we would take all the pillows and set them on the floor and start flying off the bunk beds. Grandma did not like that.
What was your grandma's favorite wrestler? Because Grandma Smith, like my dad's side, we never met her, she passed, was Gorgeous George.
I don't think my grandma had a favorite. I think my grandma's favorite wrestler was
because she didn't like wrestling. Sorry. That's where I caught the wrestling bug, I guess. Like it was birthed.
Well, George Wagner, actually, when he decided to become Gorgeous George, he did that at the urging of a guy who was a manager who's later known around St. Louis here as an announcer, Sam Menaker.
Oh, I've heard that name. Name. Crazy.
Was his
I want to say this, and you know, me as my wrestling nerddom, I'm kind of ashamed that I never really realized how big of a staple wrestling, independent wrestling, territory wrestling was in the St. Louis area.
Thank you, Jake.
And with everything we have talked about from past guests to you, sir, it's kind of blowing my mind that wrestling was a much bigger entity in the St. Louis area back in the day.
Wrestling Well, you got to keep in mind too. I really didn't get too smart to the bigger picture of wrestling until like I'd say the mid '60s or late '60s, and I didn't even really have a grasp on it until I actually got into the business, which was at the urging. I was a photographer, and it was at the urging of Juanita Wright, who she used to take tickets at wrestling at the Chase. Well, she went on to become Sapphire in WWE.
Oh my God, Pony Boy.
Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire, baby. Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire.
Oh my God.
She needs to be in the Hall of Fame. She needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm saying that right now.
I really think she was. And to be honest with you, the independent scene, you've always got the ones who are always, the backbiters and the crap talkers and everybody else, And nobody ever had anything bad to say about Juanita, though. And I got to say this
I've read that. Oh, go ahead.
She sounds like a real sweetie. Like
she was great. She'd take time. She'd ask the powers that be in WWE that they don't say his name anymore, Vince McMahon, and
we could say that here. We could say it.
He was part of wrestling.
Yeah. She'd ask him. She'd say, "Hey, could I go to the children's hospital?" I go, "Sure." She'd grab her out. She didn't. I don't think she drove any, but she'd go over and she'd go to children's hospitals and stuff like that. And she was always the hardest big. I want to say biggest Texas. I'm watching Southwest Championship Wrestling, but it's funny. She did have the hardest biggest Texas though, and it's just so. It was so ironic when she passed away because I didn't find out. I had a show going on at the American. It was a nightclub in St. Louis, and I was supposed to be facing off in a show with her facing the guy that was wrestling my guy. Mm-hmm. And I was gonna, I talked to her about it. I said, yeah, I'll give you some time here, and you can throw me around and do whatever you want. And I love the woman desperately. She was like my best friend in the business at the time, and it was so weird because I didn't make that show, and I'd had a real bad flu bug at the time that I normally don't get them, but now I get them all the time. But at the time, I never missed shows for nothing. Well, I had called in and told them that, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. And they said, that's right. So I was talking to the promoter, another good friend of mine, Frank Reed, and I asked him, I said, hey, how'd the show go? He said, it went great. And I said, well, I'm really sorry I missed it, because I wanted to go and I wanted to work it. And he said, it really turned out to be kind of a bummer because Sapphire didn't show up because she died.
Oh
wow.
Wow, man. I broke down. It was breakdown time crying,
Oh, I mean, with something like that,
I'm about to cry.
Friend, you have, and I mean, and this is why we love doing what we do. And it's not so much we're ruining kayfabe, or we're getting the stories that you don't get to hear. And when somebody says Sapphire, like you saw me, I get excited because that's just one of those things. And hearing you speak about her in such grand words and describing her, you can see that her on screen, that was her. That was truly who she was as a person.
She went with Ted.
She's one of the people that I really respected a lot. As a matter of fact, I had a gimmick I used for quite a while, where I had way back in junior high school, I had made a wrestling belt. Okay.
Hell yeah.
I think we all.
Yeah.
Hey, but this was actually a pretty good looking one. Actually, I had based it off a old wrestling review cover that I had of Harley Grace with the Central States Championship belt. Another story on that one too.
Harley,
yeah,
love Harley Race. Harley Race is on my mountaintop.
Yep, I made it my point to make the belt looked just like that one, and it was but it was a pretty nice looking belt. But it was the original Central States Championship belt. Harley Race had actually bought it and had it made to be the Central States champion. And what happened was I had done that, and I made a belt similar to that, a little bit bigger, to call myself champion of managers, champion of managers, man. And I wore my own belt ring at times.
Yeah,
with the whole tux and everything. You know, the tux, aviator glasses and the bow tie and everything. You know,
you look like fucking styling. Like, damn.
Wow,
I like that. Like a manager's belt. That is a crazy good idea.
I stole that off a bunch of managers I saw, but I actually stuck with the 70s and the 70s because I wanted everybody to think, oh, I'm the well, wait a minute, I better be careful.
You can say shit.
You can say whatever you want. This is not the censored show. Say whatever the hell you want.
Draw line's political, but everything else is
fair game.
I come in and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm the shit. Look at me, man. I got a tux. Got a ruffled shirt. Got a ruffled shirt, even though the ruffled shirts had been like, oh God, they were gone. They were gone with Meatloaf for them, you know. And
that was like early 70s, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I want a ruffled shirt. Like that's
ironically, I met Meatloaf one time too, and I actually took the ruffled shirt idea from his.
Oh, that's sick. That guy's a god. Like, you're a god, but that guy is a god too. Holy shit.
Yeah, but at the time he had the biggest selling album ever. And we're talking about popping the Beatles at this time when I met him.
Yeah.
And I met a guy that's long-haired guy who actually he had motorcycle gloves on too, top it off.
Oh, hell
he was a really quiet guy sitting off to the side, and I went over to talk to him a little bit. You know, we talked, and I didn't realize till after the fact it was Jim Steinman, the guy who wrote Meatloaf's "Bat Out of Hell."
Yeah.
Love Meatloaf. Meatloaf's my guy.
Jim Simon's side note has wrote a lot of fucking hits too.
Oh yeah.
Tommy's a music buff too, so open up Pandora's box.
I think he was doing like Sabrina Carpenter's shit before he died. Like, I mean, he might have been. Yeah, he writes hits.
And he was kind of a guy too. I mean, he was really down to earth guy. He came. This was a radiothon they were doing for one of the stations here in St. Louis, and he came in and he said, "Oh, I'll do an hour." He came in and did 7 straight hours.
Holy shit!
Your title story. Your title story reminded me of again. Wrestling fans do wrestling fan things, okay? And we kind of discussed it earlier that we collect the belts, and I have the big gold belt. 2 years ago, me and our producer, my brother, went and saw Tommy in Montana for WrestleMania 40. I did not want to. And of course, I brought the big gold belt with me, and I was just lazy and didn't want to bag check it on the way back from Helena to Dallas to Chicago.
Holy fuck! I didn't.
So I carry it on the plane with me. Yeah, we had to go through Dallas. So I carried it on the plane with me. I didn't have to pay for a single drink that whole flight home.
Hell yeah. I brought my United States title, which is here back from WrestleMania. And I did the same thing. I was like, fuck it. I'm not going to, it doesn't fit in my book bag. I'm not going to put it in my suitcase because what if someone steals it, I had kids taking pictures with me. They're like, I had a guy come up to me and he was like, "Can my son hold the belt and take a picture with you?" And I was like, I'm not a wrestler. He's like, "That's okay. He doesn't know. He wants to hold the belt." And I was like,
them that, cool. Tom?
No, it was the dad. I didn't tell the kid. I told the dad, because I feel like
now
the adults should know. The adults should know.
Yeah. But you kind of feel like it's stolen valor thing comedy,
Yeah, you feel like a dick,
I unfortunately did not tell the truth. I told him I was some champion from some wrestling company out in Chicago, and
the ladies goes,
they can't. and my brother's sitting with me, and she walks away. I'm like, Eddie, what do we do? He goes, you're too far in this now. I'm your manager. We got to run with this. And as we're leaving the plane, somebody behind us goes, that's not a real belt. That's a replica.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
But
Don't say
the reason I bring that
the facade is real.
I was gone. Yeah, the facade. But the reason I bring that up, no matter at what age you are, whether you've turned 21 twice, as you so eloquently said it, or you're still within the younger generation, you see the simplest thing. No, you're never going to grow up. No, I'm a Toys R Us kid. But when you see something like that, no matter what age of the spectrum, it puts you right back into a place of pure entertainment and happiness.
Can I side
Why
note
do you
that
think
too?
wrestling? Oh, go ahead.
Well, can I side note that? I think even the non-wrestling fans, to build into that, like, know the nostalgia. They see that belt and it brings something in them, you know, because I've never gotten a negative walking around with a belt. Like, even the non-wrestling fans are like, dude, that is sick. Like, I remember seeing that when I was flipping the channels, and you know what I mean? Like, you're saying, like, just the nostalgic wrestling fans. I think everyone, they see a big gold belt, you know, like, and there's a difference between the boxing one, obviously. Like, I don't think people are that stupid, but, like, yeah, I think it brings it out in everybody, you know, and wrestling's so much more accepted nowadays. Like, you don't hear shit talking, you hear, wow.
You got you have more closeted wrestling fans through the 60s and 70s until it exploded, and then all of a sudden it was a thing to be, man.
Yeah, as a wrestling fan person, you know.
These guys in grade school that used to kick my ass for being a wrestling fan and give me a bunch of garbage.
That was Tom.
Tom used to get his butt kicked all the time.
I used to, but I could take an ass kicking, and I also got dumped because of wrestling.
Yeah, see, I got. God, these people were insane about, you know, picking on me and stuff for being a wrestling fan.
It's fake. It's fake, you idiot. Like, why do you watch this shit? Like,
yeah, they're like calling me in the 90s saying, hey, Butch, can you give me some wrestling tickets, man, to WWE? Or I'm like, no, let's see.
Isn't that crazy?
Has something to do with you having an incestuous relationship with your mother.
Oh. There we go. There's the handle, like, just gone. You pulled it off. The horse is off to the fucking races now. Yes,
I love it.
One of my favorites. One of my favorites at the house show. And house shows used to be where you always had the one obnoxious fan. I always took pride in being like a kind of a family-friendly, you know, wood for the kids and stuff like that. I'd throw some double entendres out there, but I really didn't get till later when the kids started using worse language than anybody.
Oh, yeah. Jerry Springer ruined my life.
And speaking of, and you brought up like house shows, and, you know, I want to kind of reel it in. Again, I love these conversations, but I do have to mention, I may have missed some, but, you know, you've worked for promotions as MMWA, Central State Wrestling Alliance, Rampage Championship Wrestling, and the Independent Hardcore Wrestling. And, you know, you've done pretty much everything from referee, manage, announcer, promoter. You were at one point in your illustrious career the owner of Mid-American Extreme Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, that's for us.
How did you stay so enthralled? How did you keep that love going? Because that's a long list. That's a pretty impressive
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, you know, that the wrestling is a big part of their lives too. I mean, I was doing shows up in Jerseyville, Illinois. Okay. Jerseyville's it's a kind of north of Alton, okay, but Alton was
like
kind of
a tough area too, right?
I'm sorry.
It's a tough area, right?
Not not a tough East St. Louis is a tough area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I definitely agree. But
I'll tell you tough work a little bit here, but I was doing a show up in Jerseyville, Illinois, and this guy comes up to me and he says, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Sure, no big deal." I mean, we had fairly good crowds. It wasn't great crowds, about 250, 300, every
that's
month.
not bad though for an
No,
independent. Every month too. That's
what
good.
wasn't bad for then, especially since I was only putting about 25 posters up in the whole town and people would show up for it. So it got to be kind of a
Crazy.
tradition.
Mhm.
But this guy came up and he said, "Hey, I want to thank you, man." I said, well, what? You don't have to thank me, man. You're the one paying to see the show, And I mean, he said, "No." He said, "You don't understand. 2 months ago, I came here with my son and we got together, had a real good time and stuff. And he died the following weekend." And I'm like,
Oh.
he
Oh wow.
had an auto accident. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about too, in Jerseyville, we also had a couple that got married on our show. The guys asked me, said, "Hey, we get married during the show?" I said, I'm gonna use a little decorum though, and I'm not gonna put it up on the poster if that's okay with you. And they said, like, sure, no problem. He goes, "We're inviting everybody we need to invite." And I was just like, well, here's get some comps in here, that's cool.
That's
And
cool.
but yeah, then I got to thinking about it. I thought, wow, these people, and I got to see so many guys who came up through the independents here in the Midwest and stuff. And they grew up and had families and had kids. I know you don't have kids, but
None that I know
Crotch
of.
monsters.
None that I know of. I'm going on 34 years of not getting a letter.
If anyone has a
from
secret
Maury or
kid, we
anybody.
know who it is.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Ooh.
well, I know.
But and again, it's funny you say that because that's how my nieces and nephews are now. They've always seen me watch wrestling. They've always been around it. We're actually partnered with a promotion up this way called Rocket Pro Wrestling, and it is probably the most family-friendly show I've ever been to. The lighting in there is just visually mesmerizing, and I have my niece and nephews now going to school telling their friends, well, whatever you did on Saturday doesn't compare to what we did.
And especially when you're talking about Black Excellence, who I'm a part of.
Yeah.
I'm actually part of really a stable.
Cool. You are not. Anyways,
stop.
But it's cool because, and not to kind of throw all this out there, but my older brother, my niece, she's 11. She has like just enthralled herself into wrestling. She asks
She's gonna
us
be a
all the time,
superstar one day.
She asks us, when can I start training?
Yep.
And it's just made them closer together.
What is the lowest you can train? Sorry, a side note, because Rey Mysterio started at like 14.
Yeah. I know personally that I think it's discretion. I started training at local wrestling school out this way at the beginning of the month. The Ice Pick Academy. Vic Capri, he's a very well-known independent wrestler out this way. It all kind of depends. He told me everybody's different. And I guess he said it all depends on the maturity level of who wants to train, because you can't have some 13-year-old who wants I want to train, but then goes and spoils everything. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And there's one thing I don't know if I missed it on my research on your career. 40 years, that's a lot of documentation, and I don't like to read. But like I said, you've thank God for audiobooks. Thank you.
I looked at I don't know half of it.
Well, it must have been a good time. You refereed, you managed, you were an announcer, you were a promoter, you were an owner. what do you think was the hardest thing you had to do out of all of those titles you had? Because, again, almost 40 years, you've seen it, you've heard it, you've done it. But which one was a little bit more of a complex situation for you?
Oh gosh, for me it was actually being a promoter.
I could see
Really?
that.
Yep.
Okay, now I say really because I'm kind of intrigued on this. I didn't expect that, but I get it. That a lot of the tools we have today, you guys didn't have, and I get that. But you would. I mean, as a promoter, I feel like you have one good show, and I guess you got to keep having the good shows to have everybody come back. But I just seem kind of shocked about that one.
Yeah, because actually the first show I did was in Alton, and it's thanks to my son. He was involved with a church group that we wound up putting on, and it was a great show. But the best show I ever did was that show. I had an opening show with 600 people in attendance.
Shit.
600.
That's an indie show too. My God, I don't think the Rock and Pro Arena can fix 600.
Do you know what's ironic though?
Fire hazard.
Ironic. 13 months after I got started. Okay. 13 months after I started, I had a whole bunch of series of things happen at one time. My mom passed away. I inherited the family house and everything, and all the responsibility with that. And it wasn't like
normally how it goes.
A couple of weeks after my mom died, I had a couple of people because I canceled the show that my mom died at. I had some people kind of upset about it, and it was okay. But then I had a full blown mutiny at the end. It just happened to fall at a time when there was no money coming in. We paid the rent, and that was it. Okay. And one of the guys started mutiny, and everybody walked. I said, "Okay, fine. Y'all don't want it. I don't want it. See ya. Give me your belt before you leave."
I mean, like, yeah, and they're gonna mutinize. Like, fuck that,
And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. I'm up here crying, which I was. I cry. I'll admit I cry. I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
But
real quick, I don't want to cut you off, and I love that you said that.
All macho men
are allowed to cry. Men are allowed to cry. If something's wrong, and you got to cry it out, be a man and cry it out. Okay.
Well,
and
like Macho Man said, all macho men cry. Like we do. We cry. Fuck it. I don't care.
Well, I gotta say, I had a breakdown 2 weeks later. So I mean, you were
dealing with so much shit at the time, though. From what it sounds like a breakdown. I've had like 4.
You know what the funny part of it is, though?
Mm-hmm.
The champion, the guy he was bad. I love the guy now. I wouldn't. I'm not going to name his name or anything, but I love the guy. But here's this guy, 6 foot something, and just badass. He comes off as a badass. He sings in a band, and he was just flipping off about all this. Oh, I'm tired of this bullshit. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, leave. And when I went out, I realized something. When I walked out of the dressing area, I hadn't said that. I told my wife. Now here's my wife. My wife is 5 foot even.
They are deadly. They are deadly.
They're the meanest. The short ones are
Oh yeah, but I tell you what, we went out. She said, "Have you had it with this?" And I said, "Yeah, I've had it with this." She said, "Okay." She went to the dressing room. She was one of the people. She'd go back there all the time anyway. But
yeah,
she walked up to him and she said, "Give me your belt now."
Oh shit!
Savage lady.
And he said, and me, I was just like, boom! I was gone. You could have pushed me over with feather. I was
now with something like that, you hit that point of you're done. Fuck it, screw it, I'm out. My wife's taking care of the last, dotting the T, dotting the I's, taking the belt.
What a sweet
but
lady,
that wasn't.
too. My God,
that wasn't it for you though. You weren't done. You couldn't get away from it.
No, I couldn't. That's the thing. I mean, I took some time. I licked my wounds and got myself back in a little bit. But I made a few appearances afterwards. I mean, one of the guys who actually I had a lot of criticism about when I was a promoter, but the guy would call me all the time, constantly. Middle of 2:00 in the morning, he called me sometimes.
Huh.
But he's one of those guys too that I loved him like a kid, And he would call me at like 2:00 in the morning with these match ideas. Hey, I got an idea for a match, man. You'll see. This is
sick.
Damn it! Would you? It's the middle of the night. Come on, I got to get up for work.
See, Ponyboy does the same thing. Ponyboy does the same thing to me. I was at like a fancy dinner. I'm talking like $300 a plate. He called me 4 times, would not take my text message about me meaning like that.
I had to.
I thought someone died. I thought someone died the way you were going about it. And then you just get on the phone. You're like, hey, man, this and this.
I got this idea. I got this idea. This.
Yeah. Ponyboy.
Like,
but sometimes, like,
one of my hobbies at the time. One of my hobbies at the time was doing. I collected phones, classic phones. I used to wire.
Oh, that's sick.
Wire homes for how? Gosh, I can't talk again. Wire homes for like construction and things like that. I wire them. And I learned a whole lot about how to do things with phones. I built a phone in my desk and stuff like that at different points. And so I learned the trick to turning the ringer not down all the way, off.
I do that a lot too.
Yeah, and I put a switch on the phone, and every once in a while I hit the switch. But I mean, the phone would ring, and I wonder why I was missing calls. But still, I had a phone that was devoted exclusively for the promotion, which is an excellent idea. Please, if anybody ever.
Holy shit. Now cell phones are a thing. I bet that's horrible for people. Like,
yeah, actually, cell phones are cool because you can ignore them.
Yeah, but I mean, like, landline. It's just like serious. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the I've got the guys who still say, "Oh man, you should start up again." No. I've been away.
Okay, it's funny again. I have a buddy who I hold the world to. I love this man to death. He ran a bunch of promotions. He ran one out here for a couple of years, good long while. And again, he'd have good nights, he'd have bad nights. But he says he's never going to run again. But we'll go to shows, and I'll sit there, and I'll see him doing this. And I'm like, you're going to run again, aren't you? He goes, no, I just like thinking about it. Like
the bug.
He's taking up notes as to how he would do things better, or worse, or whatever.
And that's the car ride home. That's the car ride home. I would have done this. I would have done this. I would have booked this match with this. I'm like, just start up again, damn it. You know you want to.
Yeah.
It
came to a point where they were clamoring to be about, oh, you got to bring in some guys. You got to bring in guys from here and there, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to spend the money on bringing somebody in that I can build up my own guys here better,
See, a lot of people say that in promotions like that, and I get that. Like, you got a storyline and stuff to follow. Why bring somebody in who's going to be there a month? And
sometimes you're attached to a star. Sometimes you're attached to a star, a local guy, that they think they can push, and the guy's not the drizzling shits. And and he wants to get over because he sold 20 tickets to the front row. Well, I didn't really care about that, but I did know I had some local guys who were really, really over, and I had one guy who was really over. That I put the belt on him, and he wanted to bring in a name. He wanted to bring in, and I'll say the name in this case. He wanted to bring in Mad Pondo.
Whoa.
Ooh. That's
Yeah, like
Pondo, we worked with Pondo. Pondo came through the Midwest here, and we worked. He was good. I said, sure, bring him in, but I can't afford to pay him. Not what he wants. I can try to, comp him rooms and stuff, but I can't.
How much did he want at the time?
I don't even want to. I don't want to talk money outside of
Yeah, fair.
Outside of my own. But
that goes to show how good of a promoter you are. I respect that. That's the promoter answer.
That's building a
last
story.
show I made, I can tell you this much. Last show I put on, and my wife's in the kitchen. She can come in here and strike me down if I'm lying.
No. She's gonna take a belt off a 6-something foot man.
When you said 5 foot, I immediately knew the I can't even describe it. I know what you're talking about. Like those short ladies ladies in general, but I mean, the shorter they are, the meaner they are.
We had just determined, right, that we had $8 left. That was our profit for the night. And of course, all this stuff was on, and I was like, shit, and one of the guys came up and said, hey, I'm really bad. And, I'd been at the point where I was telling guys, hey, we might not be able to afford to pay you. And I told the guys, you got the right to walk away if you want, but, and this guy came up, he said, hey, I need to really get back home. And I don't have any gas hardly. I said, well, here, I got $8. That's it, and he's like, okay, we're cool. I mean, I told him, I said, that's all we got, man. Can't do no more.
You do what you can.
That's a helpless feeling.
With that, I can't go off of today's society, but now with you running a promotion and you're hitting your lows and you still have the talent wanting to work for you, wanting to put a show on for you, would you say that is like the perfect mixture of a happy locker room, happy work environment, and their love of the business?
I think so.
We've all seen bad locker rooms. We've all seen some shitty locker rooms, I'm sure. But it's
I can imagine. No offense to wrestlers, I love them all, but they have egos.
Yes,
I have an ego,
and we love all my brothers and sisters in the business, whether they're pro or con. Some cases they're ex-con, but still in the same vein. I worked a show up in Monroe City, Missouri, at a place called we nicknamed it the Asbestos Dome. What it was a Queason hut. It was a Queason hut that was attached to a bar.
Oh shit!
Oh boy!
And we put.
I want to go there.
Well, I don't think it's even still there anymore. To be honest with you, and some genius came up with the idea to put spray foam and insulation inside this Queason hut. Okay.
Oh, and Jesus Christ!
It had like stuff hanging down like stalactites, I guess stalactites, but it looked like the inside of a cave, and there was only barely enough room for the ring inside this place.
Holy shit!
What size ring did you run with?
I'm sorry.
I do have to ask, what size ring did you run? What size ring did you guys run with?
At the time, we had a 20 by 20, but ring.
There it is.
Yep. The ring I used max was a 16 by 16, and a lot of people laugh about that. A lot of people laugh about that, but I tell you what, I got into places nobody else could.
I bet you could whip off those ropes like a motherfucker, though. Like, because it's so short, I bet you hit those ropes and you're.
Well, we had a couple of.
You kind of.
You could tell our veterans had the armpit bruises and stuff, but But
they hurt so bad. So
get
bad.
back to the
Gotta get it over. You don't want to do this. Yeah. All right in here. For people watching at home, if you get hold on, we're gonna show it. Like bruises in this area right here.
It sucks.
And then right on your kidneys. It is tender, it is hurtful. Yep.
And you can't move without being reminded that yes, you're a wrestler and this is dues.
God. So I always ask this every podcast to you guys.
Oh boy.
What is the worst weapon used in the ring to you? Like what did you absolutely hate? I've heard light tubes, I've heard tacks, I heard scorpions last time we were on here. Like holy shit.
We had a couple weeks ago we had the wild man beast come on and we heard a story about scorpions pinching nipples. And he has been on that since then. So, but again, now
what's the worst?
I have a story about Beast, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, like what is the worst?
What was that?
I love Beast, man. I love Beast to death, but I got an interesting story about him too.
We'll get into that next.
Is it about
like,
Tom
what
Jones?
Is the worst?
Is it about Tom Jones? How he loves Tom Jones?
No. I want to know the weapon though. I want to know what was the worst. Like that you were like, I will fucking take that.
For me, it was actually a combination because during the same week, the same guy got like in these real bad situations, and I won't name the victim, but I'll name the perpetrators in this. Beast was a perpetrator in this one, and he took on this guy. He took on this guy in an anything goes match, and he brought out light bulbs. I'm talking about the long. I'm talking about these GE, these GE ones with the, and he was popping on this guy's head, and I was doing commentary with the promoter, and I said, "Where'd you get this idea to do this?" And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, God," and it was one of the first times I ever actually went off behind the mic because I worked in radio and stuff, and I learned, hot mic.
Yeah, you don't go off. I've worked in radio too. Yeah, like hot mic.
I looked at him and I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "What?" I said, "This is the sickest fucking thing I've ever seen."
It is pretty goddamn brutal.
Okay.
And I walked off. He popped that on me at the last second. He just said, "Oh yeah, we got Beast and so and so in this match, and you're gonna call it." Even though I used to manage Beast, I was like, "That's the sickest shit I've ever seen," and I walked out.
He gloated about that shit too. He was like, "Oh man."
You not a fan of? Are you kind of like old school traditional wrestling and not so much into the hardcore extreme matches?
Oh, I kind of. Hardcore wrestling kind of mutated on me,
I eventually liked it.
The only reason I ask is because in my research it did say promoter / owner of Mid America Extreme Pro Wrestling. So I'm kind of like, how did you always have a love for it, or did you kind of just this is the evolution of wrestling and we're gonna get behind it before it gets hot?
Actually, the thing of it was, I was always kind of the person that, and I think this is kind of the way wrestling goes sometimes. You don't appreciate something until it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I jumped on the ECW on the tail end. And when Paulie, like, I even talked to ECW. I bought a BWO shirt at one time.
Hey, yes. Yes. I love BWO.
This guy took my info and everything, and he was like, "Okay, well, thanks a lot." I said, "Hey, I got a question for you." He goes, "What's that?" I said, "You sound awful familiar. Are you Paul Heyman?"
Oh,
and he was like, "Oh no, not at all." He started trying to change his voice, and I was like, "Okay,
nuts.
nice working with you too,
And Paul,
and you as a manager, and I love to ask this question. Well, before we get into that, I've been wanting to ask this before we get into the whole managerial thing. In my research, it does say that you refereed in 11 different states in 3 different countries.
Holy shit! I didn't know that.
Now,
Look,
which
not
countries?
That's not as glorious as it sounds.
Oh,
I
no?
mean, no, I went up to Wisconsin and a couple of guys were like, hey, we're going up. Want to go see what Canada's like? I said, well, yeah, I was in there for.
That's when you used to get in with a fucking ID too. I presume.
Go to Canada, eh?
I didn't go anywhere. I went back roads actually, and they took me there.
Yeah, I've heard this shit. There are back roads to Canada. Like my dad went down one.
No more.
I got there, I did my thing, and I got the hell out of there because it wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And
There you
Canada in a nutshell. I think our Canadian listeners can agree.
yeah, I mean, but this was the indie scene where if somebody had a bar and they had 400 square feet, if you could fit the ring in there, they do it. But
shit.
this was that type of promotion. Okay, this is back in those days.
Yeah.
But too, I did a thing where I went down to Texas, and I had some guys go, "Hey, you want to see wrestling?" Yeah, sure. We'll go over.
tell me.
And the old wrestling tradition is, you never go anywhere without your shit.
Yeah.
Well, I had my travel case. I went down there and they're like, hey, you want to do these? I'm like, yeah. They go, tell you what, the rules are a lot different here, though.
Where
I'm
were
like,
you
hey,
at? Texas.
Huh?
Texas,
this was down,
right?
and we did the similar back road thing, and it was kind of weird, but I actually did cross the border. They checked my ID and stuff, but I mean, that was back then.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
They
didn't give a shit.
They were like, yeah, just kind of stand around and act like you're doing something, but really don't do anything. We got it covered.
Mm.
And we'll let you know it's time to go home, and all that. And but really was in the tag matches. The tag matches were so weird up there because they were like, yeah, we go lucha, and lucha is when the guy in the ring leaves the ring, his partner could come in.
Mm-hmm. So kind of like a free bird in a way.
Not really. Freebird was like 3 people. These guys, if your partner left the ring and the other partner came in who from outside the ring, he was the legal guy in.
Yeah.
And that would throw me off to no big deal. I mean, Sam Lechnick was one of the last guys in the business to use 2 referees in a tag match.
They use like 4 in New Japan nowadays, though, and they still all get distracted. Sorry.
I know for a fact that Mr. Fletcher loves Japan wrestling and all that. So before we get into the wrestling talk, I do have a couple other questions.
I do want to hear this B story eventually, though.
I think he gave it to us.
I'm looking in his eyes, and he definitely has another one.
I want to know how the nickname Black Glove came about. And ever since Luke Roberts, again, thank you, Luke, for reaching out to me from the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Ever since I've seen the Black Glove Butch Fletcher, I'm like, okay, I got to ask. How do you get the name? How'd you do it?
Well, first off, I want to tell you, I got you talk about New Japan.
Uh-huh.
I got New Japan Canada, New Japan United States patches. I've got like 6 of them around the house. I can't find them anywhere. They disappeared right after I got them.
I almost went to the G Cup 1 Classic. Then COVID happened. They had a whole fucking package for it. $1,500. You got to sleep in a tube hotel. Paid it, right? Next day, I get my money refund, and they're like, oh, COVID happened. I bought a motorcycle, but like, fuck, I've seen the patches at the G1, and they're sick. Like,
man, I tell you, now up just up the road from me here up in Troy, Harley Race started the academy up there when he moved out of his original location.
Yeah.
He moved up to Troy, and he had a lot of the Japanese pro wrestlers there. So we after the matches and stuff, we'd see Harley, with his guys and stuff, and he'd bring his guys up there. They're wearing their all Japan stuff and their New Japan shit and all that. And I'm
Like
like,
the strong style with the kind of luchador high flying and shit.
I will give you $200. I will give you $200 for that warm up jacket right now.
Yeah.
Styling. These guys.
Mhm.
They also wore the Harley Race at the Russell shirts too.
This is just promoting Harley Race while they're looking fly as fuck coming to the ring. I love that.
Who's not going to promote Harley Race? Like Harley Race.
I was going to say that. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Really, around here, it really wasn't necessary. I mean, it's Harley Race was like a wrestling, and forgive me for sacrilegious, he was a god.
Yeah. No, that's not sacrilegious. That's fact.
But okay, I think going into wrestling, you can't have wrestling if you don't mention. I can't speak today either. You can't if you don't mention Harley Race. You're not talking wrestling. You're not a wrestling fan. Can we all agree on that one?
Yeah.
And one of the things I know I'll never forget when he opened up in Troy. I took my granddaughter there. Well, my son-in-law. My son-in-law took my granddaughter up there. And she was like a little bitty, probably about 5 or 6, something like that. But she was just sitting there and she would eat some cookies. He had an open house up there. She was eating while they had a show, and she was up there eating cookies. At a table, Harley sat down with her and started eating cookies and talking to her.
See, I hear this a lot about Harley. Like when we had Beast on, he said the same thing. Like nice friend. Like, did you ever eat
nice and friendly to the audience? Nice and friendly to like the fans and the kids. But when it came time to be like towards the talent, no, fuck off. Yeah. Like he knew how to play his angle.
And all of a sudden, every picture, every video, everything I had ever seen of Harley from around the world, here's this guy, multi-time world champion, and he's sitting there talking to my granddaughter. And that made me damn near tear up.
Oh, yeah.
Harley
damn near tearing up when you said that.
Harley had this really, really kind look on his face, and he was just talking to her, just nice as can be. And I'm like, well, I see you about Harley, and she's like, hey, nice guy, and Harley smiled and everything. But he was, as far as I could see, I mean, I feel blessed because I actually got to see the human side of Harley, which not too many people can actually claim they've seen. And it wasn't like we were best friends or anything or drinking buddies. I worked some shows with him and stuff, but I mean, we didn't hang. But
for the fact that he went out of way for your like you said, granddaughter, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, like the fact that he went out of his way, like knowing that, like that's the thing with wrestling. They're always good guys. They're always willing to like talk to kids, be this like in a I don't want to say mentor type of way, but like I love how they show more vulnerability. I guess they're just like, hey, this is a kid. Let me, I'm not a big scary guy at the end of the day.
Yeah. You get some of them that do.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ponyboy, look at you. You're just,
I'm 6 foot almost. I'm not even 300 pounds anymore. I'm like 6 foot 280 something. And I get looked at like I'm like Bear Grizzly. It happens.
Well, I used to be 5'10".
But I'm going to say this. What do you mean used to be 5'10"? You don't shrink.
What? How did you grow? I need this knowledge.
Wait. Here we go, guys. I used to be 5'10" and 299 was my top weight. I've never hit 300. I would like to have hit 300.
You're not missing much. No, you don't. Trust me, you don't.
My goal is 200, and I weigh 140. So I got a long way to go.
Well, I was okay until I hit until I hit my retirement. Actually, I had my stroke and then I retired from that, and then I had a heart attack a year later. And
dude.
after that, I had a little thing called C. diff. If you think it's
yes,
minor,
I clean it.
Gotcha. Well, I had C. diff that almost killed me. So
Yeah. Holy
I lost.
shit.
I dropped from. I was down to about 280 at the time I had the C. diff, and I dropped down to 215.
Holy shit! Literal holy shit!
I was to where I couldn't walk for like I had to rehab to learn to walk and everything basically.
And I worked at a hospital for a living, and I used to be a CNA, and fucking C. diff is no joke. Like even cleaning it, we have to gown down, we have to wear scrubs and all that kind of stuff. Like.
And you didn't get the regular gowns either. The hospital I was in, they had the yellow scrubs or whatever. They had the suits
so they had
on there.
The fabric, so it would fucking soak. Yeah, fuck that.
So everybody had the yellow scrubs on, and everyone in the room was yellow colored because they had this treated special and all that,
Yeah.
And oh my God, it was
Tommy's
horrible.
our nurse. Tommy's my nurse.
You turned that room brown at that point.
Oh, come on, man.
That's a quote from Hulk Hogan. I'm turning these walls brown, brother. If you haven't seen it, look up the Hulk Hogan taking a shit video. Like, either way, whatever you think about Hulk Hogan, but it is the funniest thing because he's on morphine. God. He's like on morphine while he takes a shit video, and he's just acting like Hulk Hogan while taking a shit. Like, again, full character. Yeah. Oh, brother. Like, oh, my God. At one point, he gives a courtesy flush. That tells you how bad it was. Like, I'm not even trying to put gross out there, but if you get a minute.
Oh, God.
The best day.
I fortunately spared the walls.
Yeah, you did. But fucking C. diff.
At one point, I hit the ceiling with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I think
this shit ain't no joke. Like I cleaned ceilings.
Boom, boom, boom.
So
you want to know the weird thing about this?
Yeah, what's the weird thing?
About my last visit to the hospital. Well, during that time, I've been to the hospital since. I've,
we all have been.
In the hospital. The nurses were coming in. They were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you worked in wrestling, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, we had Harley Race just up the hall. He died a while back." And I'm like,
"Oh fuck!"
That's what you.
I know he died here.
It is like that's not to like
that's what you don't want to hear.
Shit yourself, and then you hear that news. Holy fuck! Like,
oh, he's such a nice guy. He's such a mean guy in the ring, but he was such a nice guy. And I said, well, when you get up to his age and you get up to his shape, and body wise, you can't really be mean to too many people.
No, you're pretty much not in a shitty way, but it's just like, hey, I rely on these people. I've been one of those people, so I like. And I've dealt with the meanest motherfuckers, like, and you know what my whole thing was? Sorry, side note. My whole thing is they're paying so much to be in a hospital and or nursing home. I'd be the meanest fucker in the world, but like when they're about to pass, they're always really nice. And I get that, but fucking $5,000 a month? Hell yeah. I
was always nice when I was in the hospital, man, because I didn't want them messing with anything I had to make me feel any worse.
I mean, no, you're nice to an extent. Like, I definitely agree that, especially, you don't want to piss off the main staff, but, like, I'm talking about confused people and all that kind of shit. Like, they're like, oh, my God, they're attacking me or, just being confused. And you're like, well, fuck it. Like, if I was at that point, But, yeah, I've been to the it sucks. Side note, because I can't get injured in Helena, Montana anymore because all the nurses know me. If I was like, I'm going to skip work because I am sick and have to go to the ER.
Yeah, I broke my shoulder and I did it up in a place called Warrenton, Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to the closest hospital, which at the time was in Wentzville.
Yeah.
And I think they still got my picture up on the wall up there telling you, get this motherfucker out of here. Do not let him get anywhere near.
I mean, they should be used to it. I've had people spit at me, yell at me, and all that kind of stuff. Like,
well, I went through that when I turned to be MT, and I said that was it.
Yeah.
I had a friend
I get
died, and that was it. I said, nope. Guy went to
Yeah.
school. He wasn't a friend, actually. He was a guy I went to school with. He died while I was trying to help him, and I said, that's it. I can't do this.
I get that. I was a CNA for 15 years, not to bring that up again, but like my last death, nice old lady from World War II and all this kind of stuff. She called me her grandson. And after that, I was like, I'm done. Like, when you're done, you're done. That's what people got to realize.
God bless you.
It's hard.
So
it's hard.
Now that we have Tommy's answer, I'm waiting for my answer. How you got the name Black Glove?
Oh yeah, that's right.
No glove, no love.
No
glove. And you know what? I'm trying to think of a clever name for the episode tonight, and I'm thinking Black Glove Edition. Don't know what it means, but it sounds good.
Well, it's kind of weird because Frank, the promoter I worked for, Frank Reed at the time, and he eventually married my niece, and that's a long story on that one. I won't even tell that one tonight. But he was for a while there. We were working pretty good, together and everything. And I worked with Frank, and him and I were famous because we would clash on everything as far as idea wise. And I was one of the guys he would turn to for ideas, which I never understood because I clashed with him like oil and water, And
yeah.
He had this idea because Teddy Long turned heel referee.
Holla, holla. We're hearing Teddy Long again.
Tag team.
We're getting a lot of well-known wrestlers on this podcast. I love it.
Hey, he called me playa. So
oh my God.
He's my partner.
Did you ever have to go one-on-one with the Undertaker? I can't do it as good as Teddy, but you know what I mean.
No, I did manage Glenn Jacobs, who's Kane. So
shit.
Again, yeah. 40 years in the industry, you have done everything.
No,
man,
I haven't done everything. I mean, I do got to admit, I walked the aisle at Kiel Auditorium, but it was for an Undertaker lookalike contest. Or not Undertaker, God, for Paul Bearer. That was even better.
Okay.
For Paul Bearer lookalike contest.
He was a real nice guy. Hey.
Everybody said, "Oh, you look just like him. You look like him." I'm like, okay, whatever.
I got that about Bray Wyatt a lot. Because back in the day, I had longer hair and and I take that as a compliment. You want to tell me I look like a wrestler and you're a wrestling fan? Compliment. Hey, thank you.
Paul Bearer, man, I've been called just about everything but Paul Bearer. I mean, by the fans at times. The black glove situation. Now I'm telling you, the black glove thing though was I was working in Hannibal, and we were working up to me being a heel referee. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really know where I was going with it. I thought, well, that's it for me in this promotion. Once this runs over, I've got to go somewhere else and do other things, And
sorry to leave. I didn't want my dryer doing that loud, obnoxious beeping noise. Yeah.
But no, I thought to myself, well, I had the fans give me all this garbage and stuff. And there was a lady there. She would come to every show, and she was the hat pin lady, the obnoxious lady in other areas. She was the person who just was a pain in the ass all the way around. Of course, I try to do my little thing where I'm a subtle heel, but I'm not quite a heel yet. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, these people are really into this, you know? And I mean, we came out one time, this was at the Armory, came out and these two guys go, hey, are you carrying? I'm like, no. And the guy goes, just a minute. And he came back out and he kind of discreetly, you know, pulled me aside and he handed me a gun. He said, here.
Holy shit.
I said, what? He goes, there's two guys standing around outside. They say they're going to shoot you and they've got guns in their belt.
Fuck.
I don't mean to laugh, but
No,
like, because of the gimmick?
Yep. The police told me, said, we'll follow you to the county line. After that, as the guy said in Blazing Saddles, you're on your own.
Oh, fuck.
I went, okay, you know, no problem. I got in the car, hit the gas, and hauled my ass, man.
Yeah. I would be right.
So these guys wanted to shoot you for your gimmick, or because they just didn't like you?
I think they were just talking big, to be honest with you, because you know, the next month I actually did I had the full turn all the way by that time, and I was involved. I had a match in Warrenton, the one that I wound up in Winslow Hospital over, that I had to wear this, what I call training bra from hell. And it wrapped my shoulder, everything.
Oh no.
You know, and so the next week I had to go back to Hannibal.
Oh,
I got back to Hannibal. I had to go to Hannibal because that was part of our mini circuit kind of we were in. And I went up there and I wore my I had a satin NBC jacket at the time.
mm-hmm.
I know those jackets.
They had the peacock on it and everything. It was really cool. And a friend of mine at Channel 5 here in St. Louis turned me on to it. But anyway, I wore that and a pink hat from a strip club in Springfield, Illinois.
Fuck yeah.
Deja vu, man.
We like Deja vu. I think that's still open.
In latter times, I would wear a Deja vu jacket that matched my hat. You know, it was hot pink.
Fucking rep.
Back when I was reffing still, I got into an argument with some guy and he threw a drink at me or something. I don't know what it was, but he got me. So I was like, and I can't do shit, you know.
Yeah.
I can't do shit. Like I keep my persona, so to speak, my objectivity. Well, I turned up and came in the dressing room and I'm like, look, you know, why don't you just let me get my comeuppance? I'll go back to being a referee and we can get this. And Frank's like, no, this is too good, man. We gotta play this out. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'll do it. Well, I had a thing where I was involved in a match and I got knocked out of the ring.
Mm.
And I'm out there kind of doing my thing, you know, and everybody's going, you're faking. And I finally got to a point where I looked up at him and said, yeah, shut up. Don't tell everybody else. And I went to stand up, and this lady who was there, the obnoxious lady who was there, my Hannibal princess. You know, and all of a sudden, it's lights out, boom, and I'm like,
holy shit!
Right on the floor, thinking, where's all this water coming from? And why is it here? She clubbed me with a 52-ounce thermal cup.
Holy fuck!
Oh no!
And I'm starting to get my focus and everything, and she's standing over me, holding this handle to this cup, and she's going, I got that son of a bitch.
Wow.
I got it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to kill this lady when I get up.
Yeah, no shit.
Get up, and I'm hearing Frank in the background going, don't do it, Butch, don't do it. Well, I come back to the dressing room, and I was kicking stuff and pitching all over the place.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, where's our security? Where's our guys here? Or I called them crowd control because you can't call them security in the state of Missouri.
Oh,
But
Oh no.
where's the crowd control in this place? I said, are these people as retarded as I make them out to be? And all I was going off. And finally, I said, you guys want to heal, right? They're like, yeah, my eye caught it. On the table in the dressing room, somebody had taken a glove off, a bicycle glove or a motorcycle glove. They had taken it off and put it on the table. So I said, fine, you want to heal? And I stuffed my hand into this glove, which was like way too small for me.
He OJ'd it. He OJ'd it.
I put it on, right? I said, you got your fucking heel. Watch me go. And I went out there the next few matches. I went out there. I did my thing as a referee, and they had even a title match. And I did the Danhausen curse thing before Danhausen was even born.
You want to know what? That is unseeable now. Hold on. I'm looking at the photo right now. Tom, hold on.
Okay.
You're good. I got to look at the photo now because I'm seeing the Yep. Mm-hmm. You did it first.
Glove was always on the right hand, but when I do the count, I do 1, 2, and I'd be like, I'd put a hand up by my eye.
Yeah.
I was hit by something. And I said, hey, one of these people out here threw ice at me. They threw some ice at me. I don't get it. Why are you guys doing this to me, man? And in the meantime, the match is going on. The champion was pinned, and this guy got a break because I claimed somebody threw something in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, upset. Now, finally, I made the transition. I became a manager the next month because I had no choice. I had my shoulder broken. I couldn't referee or anything, so I became a manager then.
And the black glove thing sprung from that.
With that story being told, and what is your take on, because you're seeing it a lot more with like independent companies. Like there was a situation at the Berwyn Eagles Club up in Chicago not too long ago. You're seeing it in WWE. You're seeing it in AEW. Why do you think that the fans of wrestling are pushing over that line?
Oh, just say Youth Gone Wild. They abused a child.
No, no, that's another story.
No, fans have interfered.
Why do you think fans are? Okay,
participants?
Go ahead.
Participants, I'll tell you, they excuse me again. I'm sorry. They actually, the fans are getting more emboldened. I think as they grow up. I mean, it used to be a big thing when guys would get in the ring and the wrestler would knock them out or take them out or whatever. A bunch of people dogpile them. But now people are getting a lot more emboldened. There's no consequences for your actions. I mean, if you see a fan that gets really involved in a match, and I saw the tape from the Berwyn thing, by the way, and if anybody would hit me with 4 elbows like that, I would have knocked them out.
Yeah.
But that's another story. Everybody talks big when they're watching it. But these guys get up there, first thing you touch them, first thing you get them, it's going to be, oh, yeah, they're going to sue. They're going to sue, We're going to sue you and everything. Well, I had a show up in Jerseyville again. I'll go back to Jerseyville because it happened there. Had a kid come up to one of my guys and start a little ruckus with him and his wife. Now, his wife was a sweetheart, and I liked her. She was really a nice person. But at the time, she was his girlfriend. But I grabbed the kid in a crossface chicken wing type move, bob backwards.
Oh, yeah.
As I was walking about, I was talking here. I did the talking in his ear like I did everybody else I would throw out of a show. I was like, hi, I'm Butch Fletcher. Don't get upset. I'm not doing nothing to hurt you here. But I said, if you get stupid, you're going to get hurt. So let's not get stupid. Let's walk out the door. I said, I'm introducing myself right now because I know I'm the person your parents are going to sue. And I said, if your parents are going to sue me, I figure we better get to know each other close and personal here.
There's a method to the madness.
We went outside. And I said, I'm going to turn you loose. Don't do nothing stupid. He's like, okay. This was an old Walmart. The Walmart had given up. This was a Walmart version 1, that they had given up, still had all the blue stuff on it and everything outside. But when I turned them loose, I said, wait a minute, stop. I said, look, I've seen you here. You've been here a lot. I said, this is a bad night for you. I said, here's my card. And I wrote on the back of it, I said, you and a guest come in next month. I said, you're okay. You're not thrown out or anything. I said, but don't do anything that's stupid again, okay? He's like, okay.
Fuck yeah.
I learned a lot about that with Korean too, because you'd have to walk guys out and you'd have to talk to them because it's like, hey, don't do anything stupid, man.
Yeah.
I think, if you're not, as wrestlers and managers and promoters, if you're not doing your job properly, you're not going to get that sense of just enthrallment from your fans and your audience. And once you're able to hit that level, your job is on point.
In some cases, it's impending doom.
Mm-hmm.
It's really kind of scary when you see the fans kind of close in, and you've got to find a way to get through them, and you don't really want to. But I mean, back when I wrestled a few times, and I wrestled the place, and a lady stuck me in the leg with a plastic fork.
No, she forced.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. It was like,
holy shit.
Right above my knee brace, because I wore it on my right knee, all the way up to the bottom of the cheeks of my butt.
Holy shit.
32 stitches in my leg.
Holy fuck.
And
that's a crazy bitch.
They brought the lady back, and they brought her husband back and everything, and he was just pale as a ghost. I'm like, no, let's get out of here, man. Just leave me alone, get out of here. Because here I am bleeding over everything, which I know they're going to be bitching because I'm bleeding in the dressing room,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a no-no. But you get still some crazy fan.
You got stabbed from the leg to the ass. I think that one's acceptable.
Well, actually, it's weird because she went upwards with it. It kind of just took the talons of the fork, and I took like 2 talons of the fork out of my leg while I was in the ER. That could take another one out. But
my God.
I got fucking psychopath.
So I got stitched up, and then the doctor said, stay off and stay away from ladies with plastic forks. And I'm like, I'll do that.
You would have thought like it would have broke, like the plastic. I'm shocked the plastic fork didn't break.
It sounds like most of the prongs broke.
The prongs broke, and then the rest of the plastic fork kind of took care of the skin till she couldn't go no higher with it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So is that the clean answer? Like the worst injury you've ever received was getting forked?
Kind of, but actually, I've seen a lot worse. So,
But man, you got stabbed with a spork.
Well, I'll give.
It wasn't a spork. It was a fork.
I mean,
a fork.
Oh.
Yeah, it's St. Louis at the park. But I tell you what, I was doing a show once again, Warrington. I don't know why Warrington is like I remember him, but we had a guy, Dump Truck Dave Perry. Now, Dump Truck Dave Perry, man, he was a lunatic, absolute lunatic. But he was a nice guy. Hung with him for quite a while. I was his manager when I became a manager, and blah blah blah. But anyway, Dave Perry was insane, and he would go out there and do stuff. And we had this rickety asshole ring that we were renting, and it was a death trap happening. And he went around the corner and he brushed his arm around the corner. Didn't think nothing about it. Back in the dressing room. He went back to the dressing room. His arm was a mess.
Oh yeah.
He had hooked the somebody put an eye bolt through the ring post as a fix.
Oh no!
Mm.
The end of the bolt caught him under the arm, on his arm. Caught him on his left arm, and just laid him wide open.
Jesus Christ!
Laid him wide open. And I think it's a thing too where 108 stitches seems to be like the number because he took 108 stitches in his arm to fix his arm.
Fuck, dude. Like,
now they were claiming that Hacksaw Jim Duggan, when he won the UWF title, took a ring post bolt and took 108 stitches in his eye. I thought the number 108. I don't want to be anywhere near that, you know.
yeah,
That's just for wrestlers, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw a guy get his leg broke. I'm not talking about break. I'm talking about, let's see.
Full ass bone.
How about Cheetos broke? Okay, with multiple.
Oh no!
5
That's
breaks.
a career ender.
The guy was off work and out of action for like over a year. He still limps.
Yeah.
I see him every once in a while. He still limps. He was taking on a guy who didn't know shit.
Yeah.
That's something I'm going to tell guys right now, too. If you're in wrestling and you go into wrestling and your opponent doesn't know anything and you haven't never seen him wrestle ever, do not wrestle him.
Yeah.
And I was just going to ask that. I was just going to ask that because, you know, with a bunch of the promotions that we do stuff with and that we're involved with, we do see, and we're going to kind of peel back the onion or the curtain for a little bit. We do see like the pre-warm up meetings. Okay, Shrek boy. We do see like the veteran talent kind of give a pep talk, and one thing that we always do here is if you are not comfortable doing something, do not do it. Not only is it going to look like pure dog shit, but you take the risk of hurting yourself, but more important, the person you're in the ring with. And it kind of goes back to the whole training school and being physically fit to do it, being mentally stable to do it. There's a lot that goes into wrestling more than what people realize. And again, I have had everything I want to bring up with your experience. You're one peg in front of me, and I love it. But we're getting close to that hour and a half, and we're gonna have to have you come back. I do think that after the event, the Hall of Fame event, I believe that's in July in St. Louis. I think Mr. Luke Roberts is on a plane to Denver right now, so he's watching from the airplane. I think after that, I think we're going to have everybody come back on. We're going to do another special, and we're going to love to have you come back on if you want to come back on. I mean, we are a little bit rowdy, but
what Ace Roberts, man, he carried so many guys in Max. I know when he would come in and wrestle some of these younger guys that we had in training. He carried so many of those guys. If he's on a plane right now, I know he's totally safe because if the plane started messing up, he carried a damn plane to the airport.
But I do. One of the last things I want to bring up before we kind of start wrapping it up is you are already a Hall of Fame inductee, and of course my phone wants to shut off. But you were inducted into the Rampage Championship Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2019.
Yeah.
Now you're being inducted into the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame for the class of 2026 with an absolute monster class with, your friend Beast and Steve Montana. And what does that mean for you? I mean, I'm sure getting the first nomination for the Rampage Hall of Fame, and now you're getting another one for the Independent St.
Actually,
Louis.
it's kind of funny because actually the RCW Hall of Fame, I was inducted in twice. Once was an online
okay.
Fame, and but the one
so we have a 3-time.
No,
I'm going to readjust my statement. So we're not a 3-time Hall of Fame. We're just a 2-time.
I consider the RCW Hall of Fame the most recent one was the one that counted. The other one really didn't count because it was kind of put together on a website that nobody really went to. You know, they put a picture of me in my gray tux, which was really, I hated my gray tux.
Yeah,
I like the red
it's
one.
like Pee Wee Herman style right there.
Oh, good Lord, man! But
I had a blue one, I had a gray one, and I had a white one for one show. And I just got it. My aunt made it for me. It was really cool looking tux. I was really proud of it. But a guy named Brad Seeger, God rest his soul. I love Brad, but he put the tux on, and he looked at me and he goes, "Sorry, Butchie," and I'm like, "Trash it," you know, because it started pouring out when he got it, and I just said, "Trash it."
Shit.
He just crap hosed it down and just tore it like Hulk Hogan, type.
Yeah.
And I was going crazy and stuff like that. I thought, oh, Aunt Tut, I'm sorry, but but it lasted one show, one match. I couldn't help it but say, hey, it's just collateral damage.
And now you're getting inducted this July into the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. What does that mean for you? Because I can speak on behalf of Tom, and I kind of said this earlier, is without the men and women before what we have now, without the men and women from the territory years, we wouldn't have this. And now that, and I find it more for me pleasurable and meaningful that we get to be a part of the independent scene, because those are the men and women that don't get preached about, don't get the kudos and the flowers that they deserve. So what does this mean for you?
For me, it's kind of like full circle, I guess you could say, because as a kid, I always was into watching wrestling and doing things, and my dad would talk to me about it, and which was my grandfather by birth. And I was, ironically, that's how I got the nickname Butch, because I was named after my grandfather at birth, but his name was Elliot Fletcher. And my name was Elliot Fletcher. And when he died, it was kind of freaky watching everything with Elliot Fletcher on it around the funeral home. But, I did request him put his middle initial up there, though, so it would differentiate a little bit. So my schoolmates wouldn't come by the funeral home and stop and gasp when they see me.
I mean, that's just a rib. I mean, you're a wrestling fan and you got a rib that early. I'm digging it.
Yeah.
No shit.
As far as wrestling goes, I'd seen guys like, Sam Muchnick and all this. I seen him in the hospital after the Leno convention he did in St. Louis to honor all the people in St. Louis and stuff. I went to the hospital and talked to Sam Muchnick, and I felt like, wow, here's a guy who known all over the world, again. Here's another guy known all over the world, and here I am talking to him, and he's in his bed, and he's holding the pillow because he just had heart surgery, and he's holding the pillow on his chest. Everything. And I just told him, I was real brief. I said, I just want to say thank you, sir, and wish you Godspeed and hope you get better, And he said, well, thank you. And I walked out. I didn't want to take any of his time. I knew he was in the hospital, and as much as I later hated being in the hospital when people would come visit, I didn't want to take up a lot of his time, but I just felt kind of honored just to be there in his presence,
Mm-hmm.
outside of the wrestling thing where I sat in front of a McKeel Auditorium a couple of times, and I sat in different places and I was at different places he was, and it was just like with Harley, I was at a lot of shows that Harley was at, and I'd gotten to know Harley a little bit from showing up at his shows, talking to him. I want to go back if I can. I know you guys are tired of probably going back, but
you're good. No,
Nah.
absolutely no.
I want to go back
Story
years
time.
ago. I had a friend of mine. He was what we call belt marks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I had some belts, and he was like, he called me and he said, "Hey, I've got this belt here that I want to borrow some money from you, but I want to put the belt up as collateral." And I'm like, okay, it was the original Central States Championship belt. Remember, I talked back about Harley Race on the cover of Review?
Yep.
It was original. So I loaned him, I loaned him the money. And come to find out, he ghosted me, man. He just disappeared.
So he didn't know what he had. He didn't know.
No, he did.
Man.
He got it.
He did.
He got it from what my story was. He got it from the Kansas City promotion.
Oh, shit. And he just straight up stole it.
I didn't like, he had done other things too where I was kind of not crazy about him anymore because he had gotten a hold of Kerry Von Erich's wife and wanted to know if she was making anything available to sell and blah, blah, blah. And he was basically.
Oh, he's one of those.
I was like really turned off by it. And I thought, no, screw this, But it was the Missouri, I'm sorry, it was the Central States Championship belt that Harley Race actually had. And I was like, wow. So it was about a year and a half later, something like that. And I hadn't heard from the guy. I'd called him a few times. I called him. I said, look, I'm putting this up for sale. If you don't, I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
But I got contacted by some guys who knew Harley and said, hey, they're doing a roast for him for his birthday. Said, would you be interested in selling the belt? So I said, yeah. And I told him exactly what I'd loaned this guy, the belt, and I sold him the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave it to Harley Race's wife, and they gave it to Harley for his birthday.
Oh wow!
When I went up to Troy, he told me, he said, yeah, I've got the belt up on the wall at my office.
Oh.
I looked at Harley.
That's amazing.
I said, it's exactly where it belongs, Harley. And I pointed to him. I pointed to you, because that I always felt those, stuff like that. I mean, I had the old AWA Southern tag team belts for quite a while, actually.
Yeah.
And I always felt like, these are cool belts. They're really cool belts because they were designed after the Dome Globe, but they were silver.
Yeah.
And a little less ornate, But they were Reggie Parks belts, and I'm a big Reggie Parks fan. If a Parks mark, I guess you could call me. But yeah, when he passed away, there was so many people doing belts, and I mean, the shape of the hobby now is just way out of proportion. But anyway, I'll digress on that. But Harley, that should be Harley's belt. That is Harley's belt. He came in, he got the belt and defended it. And of course, there were different incarnations of the Central States belt, like in most promotions.
They change them up, and they make them evolve.
Yeah, yeah. And these things were like, everybody else says, why'd you go out and get that piece of shit belt with, strap a 10 on it, and it's got stars that have been pulled. They're pulling
fucking cool.
Yeah. It has no 5 plates on it. And I'm like, hey, this was the belt that I sat in my living room as a kid, 10-year-old kid. I sat in my living room in my underwear watching Wrestling at the Chase.
Yeah.
Okay? As a kid, I watched Pat O'Connor beat Harley Race for this belt on St. Louis television. And all of a sudden, it disappeared. Boom. And found out the story behind it later was Kansas City heard about the title change, didn't approve of it at all.
Oh,
Didn't
wow.
want to. And so they refused to recognize Pat O'Connor as Central States champion.
Weird.
And so Sam Muchnick said, well, screw you guys. I'll make my own belt. And that's where the origins of the Missouri State Championship belt came about, you know?
Crazy.
And there's a neat belt. If I can do a plug here.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I can do there's a neat story out there that's a real, and the name slips me right now, and so help me God, I'm so angry at myself for this, but it's called the belt, or the strap, I think. Yeah, the strap. And it's a history of the Missouri State Championship belt. Okay. But it goes really, really, really deep into the history of the belt and everything like that. And he sent me an autographed copy, and the guy who wrote it sent me an autographed copy, and my copy got stolen, so it figures.
Fuck.
Now I'm gonna have to look up that book because that's something I'm gonna want to read. I don't like it, but that I will read.
That belt is one of the most complete histories behind the scenes and in front of the scenes of putting together the first Missouri State champion, the brackets, and how some people mysteriously just disappeared off the brackets. Some people got
just randomly.
From what I remember, it was a several-month tournament.
Holy shit.
And the last two wrestlers were Race and Pac Song.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody remembers Pac Song, he was like Japanese madman, 6'9".
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember Pac Song.
I think the next time we have Mr. Fletcher.
I think she weighed about 42 pounds or something, but he was tall. I know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big guy.
I think the next time you come on, sir, we're gonna have to talk some Japan wrestling and some lucha libre wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're gonna catch me on that, because a lot of the lucha libre I caught was on the old Pluto, when Pluto carried it. And this was 20 years ago. This was 20-year ago tapes that they had that they were playing, and I knew when WWE bought AAA, that was it for Lucha Libre International. I know I do it unless you're paying for it. You know.
I mean, they have Rey Mysterio in charge now, so I'm willing to bet it's gonna be something.
He's also got bosses too, and those bosses are telling him what to do with the pretty much running it and everything. Yeah. So Ray's a good guy. I'm sure Ray's a good guy, but the
higher powers.
You know how the business worked.
Hey, I got some trivia for you though.
All right, lay it
on me. There's a movie called WrestleManiac.
Okay. It sounds familiar.
Stars a guy named Rey Mysterio Sr.
That if I'm correct, that wasn't his daddy, that was his grandfather.
I believe so, yeah, because Rey was a nephew, I think, or something. But Rey Mysterio Sr. starred in this. And their big claim to fame for this movie was they got one of the girls who had the suitcase from the show. I can't think of the name of the show now.
Let's make a deal.
Deal or No Deal.
There we go.
The Howie Mandel one, yeah. And it was a bizarre movie, man. Really out there.
I'm gonna have to look that up now. I'm gonna have to look that up.
It was kind of weird too, because it was about this guy who would beat wrestlers in their training center or something like that, and he would wind up not only taking their mask, but he'd steal their face too. And
that's badass. What?
It was a horror movie.
All right, definitely WrestleMania. That's going on the docket. I gotta find that one. I'm off. I'm gonna have to check that out.
And it was there's a lot of good old stuff out there if you know where to look, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So there is one thing I like to ask our guests. And with you and your expertise of managing and running a promotion, it's the Mount Rushmore question. And I like to switch up the Mount Rushmore question to all of our guests. If you had to pick a Mount Rushmore of managers, who would they be?
Oh man, shoot.
And I'm talking, it doesn't matter what era, doesn't matter what brand. You got the 4 choices for your Mount Rushmore of managers.
I'd start off with Fred Blassie.
Oh yeah. That's
he was old school, kind of out of touch, sort of, but he knew how to get the crowd up still. He had that old school mentality, you know?
Yeah.
And Fred's a St. Louis boy too, you know.
Gotta keep it local.
Yeah. And, I have to go out on a limb here and say Ernie Roth.
Ooh. Wow, that's a name that not many people. If you don't, and again, for those who watch and listen to this, if you don't know these names, you as a wrestling fan owe it yourself to go on the Google machine and Google them.
Or wiki it or something, man, because
hit them with the wiki.
Ernie Roth was like, he was Abdullah Farouk in Detroit. He was a Grand Wizard in New York. Eddie Manning champions in all places, you know. Mm-hmm. And here's a guy who got to start in radio as an announcer, had one of the most annoying voices in the history of wrestling.
It was bad. It was rough. It was rough.
He was over as a heel manager big time. And
you got 2 more. You got 2 more spots available.
Gosh, let me see. I would have to go with probably that. It's a tough one because I've got so many. I'm trying to
go through the list. Like
some of the guys in the independent scene. Like there was a guy used to be known here in St. Louis as Magic Man, and he'd actually do magic tricks and stuff outside the ring. He was amazing, and the guy would have to be one of the guys. If I put up an independent manager, it's your
Mount Rushmore. It is your listen. I've had guys put independent wrestlers on their Mount Rushmore. This is the wonderful thing about it. This is your Mount Rushmore.
Well, my Mount Rushmore also would have to include a current guy who's wrestling right now, who to me is just, if I would have had this guy I could have connected him up to everything, but he managed to do it on his own. And that's MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
Oh yeah.
He was a manager. He was. Mm-hmm. And again, this is why we truly love having the veteran knowledge on this show to relay that veteran knowledge to the listeners.
Honestly, I didn't know a whole lot about him. I just saw snippets of him on YouTube and stuff like that. But I did not know how deep this guy was into his character, and he is cool. I mean, he comes to a ring wearing a jacket saying "Big Hebrew" on the back. Holy.
Yeah,
he's into it, man. He doesn't care if it's gonna sell. He's gonna do it.
He calls his version of Shining Wizard the Brisk.
Yep. He
runs across into the guy's face. I mean, come on, that's hazardous in itself. You know,
I mean, that's like the ultimate heel. And you want to know what? I do think that when you have guys like that who are so enthralled in their character and their gimmick, I call it the Ric Flair effect. You're going to get known, you're gonna get remembered, and you're gonna make a shit ton of money. And again, like you saw it with Undertaker, you saw it with Flair, you saw it with I'm not just going to single Flair out. I'm going to throw the whole Four Horsemen faction in there.
Yep.
They lived that gimmick to the point where it was expected and it made money. It sold.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Barring any injury, I can tell you this much: MJF is going to go places.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
do you think he's going to always be with AEW, or do you think he'll jump ship and go to WWE?
He almost will. He will almost have to go to WWE at some point, which that would work right there, because WWE, I say great things about it because I know a lot of people who've done good things and made a lot of money with them. But in the same vein, WWE, if you're not made by WWE or owned by WWE, they eventually erase you.
Yep.
That is a very good point.
You become irrelevant because, yeah.
I mean, I saw some of the later matches with Cena doing jobs to some of these guys who put in the business 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. And those are guys that can't let go. I think John Cena had the right idea, but I think John Cena is like 2 years too late to save what he did. Kind of like, with Sting and Flair and Taker and all these guys. And I get it, chasing after that last high, that last ounce of a career is never going to go away.
No.
But it's the ultimate question of, and this is the last question I want to ask you. Well, I got one more, but this is the last wrestling question. When do you know as a wrestler, as a talent, as a manager, promoter, owner, booker, that it's time to call it a career? Or does that feeling ever just stay with you?
I'm going to go back quite a ways when I say this.
Let's go. We're going to run it back.
We had a man. He was a Hispanic man who wrestled under the name of Johnny Ramirez. Johnny Ramirez would sit down with these guys and tell them, have fun, but when it quits being fun, call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to live with that. I got to kind of live by that, because actually it's hard, but for me, wasn't that hard because I was taken out by a stroke.
Okay.
I was to where I had to have help. My last appearance in a ring as a manager, I had to be assisted up the steps to the ring. I couldn't get in the ropes. I didn't want to get in the ropes because I didn't want to take a chance on falling.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew it was over before that. But you don't tell yourself. You say, "Oh, I got one more in me," or "I got one more night, one more magic night that'll do it." And a lot of these guys have lived their magic nights, and I was probably one of the biggest Ric Flair fans in the world. But I was writing a newspaper. I was writing a newspaper article for Metro East Times, which was a local throwaway paper that I think we had a circulation of about 6. But I pleaded with him in one of my articles. I pleaded with him, retire.
Mm-hmm.
Retire while you're still on top. Because this was during the time he was doing the fake heart attack thing in WCW.
Okay,
yeah, that was like the worst time.
He was miserable, man. And to read his and everything, the guy's definitely bipolar. I'm bipolar, so I recognize it. But he's definitely, and he says in wrestling, don't go in there if you got thin skin, because it'll destroy you, man.
Oh yeah.
Ric Flair was taking it way too far, way too long. And I think the last match he had with Steamboat went down in probably a lot of people's as the worst match ever, which is sad because for a lot of people, they could say they've seen their best match ever too.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that Flair is just too far into it that there's no coming back?
Well, once again, I'm going to go back to my trainees that we would. I'd get them together once in a while. I'd have a talk with them, and I'd tell them, say, look, one thing you have to do, usually when I have one guy who is doing it, I'd call it out because it looked better if I called everybody out on it.
Okay.
That's it. One thing you can't do in this business is live your gimmick 24/7.
And Ric Flair does the shit out of that.
Yep.
So does MJF.
I didn't walk around wearing tux and butterfly necktie and mirror glasses and stuff like that. I didn't walk like I was rich. I built myself from Washington Park, Illinois, because it sounded fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Washington Park, Illinois is a town full of strip clubs and bars.
Hell yeah.
It's
something I can get behind.
It's on the outskirts of East St. Louis. And Frank, my promoter I worked with, used to have a blast introducing me because he introduced me as from Washington Park, Illinois, Washington Park's favorite son, Black Glove, Butch Fletcher. And I was a heel, and
it worked.
I was up there in Crackerville, and they all knew where Washington Park was, and you didn't see too many of them guys visiting Washington Park, and they had this kind of thing about me saying that I couldn't be from Washington Park, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, whatever. I said, it's wrestling.
Yeah.
And
it's not like everyone's going to know what Washington Park is like,
I tell you what, look it up on YouTube. Yeah. I'm sure somebody got something about Washington Park. If not, look up ones on East St. Louis and take that let's see. Make that like 10% of what East St. Louis is.
Yeah. It's worse.
I mean, I hate to do that. I hate to do that because there are good people in Washington Park. I know several girls strip clubs that work there, and they were good, really hardworking, honest people, except they lived in a very, very violent area.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, but anyway, back to whatever here.
It's about that 2-hour mark.
Yeah. So again, with you, again, we have fun. So with you never really lose that drive for that love of wrestling. But I think, on me personally, hearing all of your stories and from you making that handmade belt to doing a almost 40-year career and living what most people can only dream of as a wrestling fan or promoter manager, and then getting the actual belt, giving it back to Harley. And now you soon to be a 2-time Hall of Famer. You have probably one of the greatest independent wrestling stories that I've heard.
Agree.
And again, I want to say thank you on behalf of myself and my co-host for coming on. We're definitely going to do a part 2
we're all bullshit artists, I mean.
No. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. Mama always said you can't bullshit a bullshitter.
I came from good stock. I came from bullshitters, and they.
What we like to do is we like to have our guests before we thank our sponsors and all that stuff, all the business aspect of it. We like to have our guests give the closing statement. So the world's crazy today, we all know this. But for those wrestling fans who have grown up watching wrestling fans, have younger kids that are watching wrestling fans, if you can give them any type of advice, or even young wrestlers that are getting into the business, what would be a solid Black Glove Butch Fletcher piece of advice?
Next shows you go to, remember, it's always, Mick Foley said it was a suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
Go to that show with a suspension of disbelief instead of knowing everything that happens.
Okay.
enjoy these guys' performances. They're out there busting their ass for you. They're going to give you your $15 or $20 worth or $10 worth or whatever you paid. And they're out
It
there
should be
giving
more.
you a good show. And even if they suck, they're out there trying, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They can ask you if they come. Sometimes they'll come up and ask you, like everybody comes up and asks me, "How did it look?" You could have worked on it a little bit, but it looked pretty good, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Don't be a know-it-all and sit out there in the audience and bitch about the show. Oh gosh, he's not selling it right, or he's not doing it right, or excuse me, I'm sorry, or the famous one. There was a hiccup.
Hey.
Or the famous one that just gets up my skin more than anything is, man, this guy's got to be a shitty booker. And I want to turn around and tell him, say, do you know what a booker is?
Yeah.
Do you know what
Fucking smart.
a booker is? Do you know what these guys are getting paid tonight for going out there and doing this? They ain't doing it to get rich.
Mm-mm.
So get out there, enjoy the show, imbibe in your adult beverages, like
Hell yeah.
Little
Reason-
libations.
reasonably. Don't touch the wrestlers. And keep in mind, these guys are human beings after the bell.
Yeah.
As far as wrestling's going to be what it is, no matter how the guys shape it. Right now, it's all in TKO's hands.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have, after every Monday Night Raw, after every Friday Night SmackDown, you're going to have promoters out there, indie promoters. They're going to put on the exact same show that you saw on Friday night and Monday night. Guys,
Mhm.
get original. Get original. Even when I was designing belts, get original with your belts. If
Yeah.
somebody sees your guy wearing a belt, and they can say, oh, that's so-and-so's belt, because that's the way his belts are. It's not cookie cutter like a lot of these belts are nowadays,
Mm.
you know, and there's way too many titles out there right now anyway.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of titles out there that aren't getting used properly.
I quit even keeping up with the belts because it ain't worth it.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, the light heavyweight title, 205 title,
Mm-hmm.
It's gone.
you know, I thought it was a great looking belt, but, you know, I wouldn't want to display it anywhere because, hell, it's worse than 24/7 belt.
Yeah. No shit.
Oh man, I love it.
I saw a guy who had a clock that looked just like the 24/7 belt. Looked
I
he
like the green. I like the green strap on it. I thought the green strap was sharp, but the whole
I
thing was
think
just.
it's too much of the Hulk era belt, you know,
That is a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until now.
the one with all
Wow.
the WWE champions listed on it. I mean, gosh, you couldn't put that many people on a belt anymore. I mean, you know, they started
Oh,
that.
shit.
That belt was made actually in Japan. They started that in Japan with putting the champions' names on the belts.
Mm.
If you notice all the Japan belts and stuff that had all the champions' names on it, they had like 5 or 6 on a side panel.
Yeah.
We got a comment. We have a comment. 24/7 belt didn't even make it into the garbage can. It was that bad.
Yeah. You know what's something strange too, and I got to point out, and
Yeah, absolutely.
look at it next time you're looking through some of the old stuff. Dick the Bruiser in Indianapolis had the WWA championship, you know, his belt, right?
Yeah.
And his promotion, he was kind of the eternal champion of it. The original belt on there, if you get a real good picture of Dick the Bruiser with the belt still has Fred Blassie's name on the main plate.
Oh,
No.
crazy.
He
We have
beat Fred
homework.
Blassie. He beat Fred Blassie for it. I'm sure it was a rain thing but he took off with the belt. I mean, he didn't steal it or anything. But he used it in promotion for a long time, and the belt had Fred Blassie on it on the main plate. And I was like,
Crazy.
oh, that's kind of an interesting thing, you know. And I mean, I've learned too in my experiences with belt trading and stuff. I learned how to spot some original Reggie Park stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And the stamp is just a giveaway, but I mean, I'm talking about on the plate, stuff like that. On the Georgia Championship belt, he actually has a thing on it that is not hidden from anybody. It says original artwork by R. Parks.
Oh wow,
crazy!
And if you look at it close on some of the belt, you know, you'll see him. And he always had a thing too, where on some of his belts, not all of them, but he'd hide out a little RP on them.
I mean, if you're sign it, make it your own, but make sure you know who made it. I respect.
Yeah,
the Southern tag belts in the lower, I believe it was the lower right hand corner on the main plates of them. They had a little bitty RP. Nobody noticed it until you pointed it out.
Yeah.
And if you look close enough at a lot of these belts that were made by Reggie, you can see. Now I know I'm a Reggie person because I collect Reggie Parks belts, but
yeah,
I think the guys nowadays are incredibly talented, but I think there are also a lot of crooks out there too that you got to be careful.
Oh yeah.
And you know,
I love talking about belts. We're gonna have the whole next episode with you. We're gonna talk about Japan wrestling. We're gonna talk about belts. I'm good with that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I've known some guys since they were infants in the belt industry, and I'm talking about two names, and you might be familiar with. Like, I hate to drop names here, but I'm going to. Joe Martin.
Okay.
Joe Martin. He was one of the originals.
Yeah.
And Dave Milliken. I knew Dave Milliken before he started getting heavy into making belts and stuff.
Oh wow, that's a big name for the belts.
Yeah, that is a huge name.
And Dave is like one of the greatest guys in the world. Everybody talks about everybody ripping everybody off, but you know, I never had a problem with these guys. I had one problem with one guy, and it wasn't Dave, so I'll let you guess on that one. But I had one problem with one guy. And I told him, I said, look, I've been waiting about a year for a belt. You know, I don't seem to get any positive feedback from you. So, I'm going to have to insist that you give me my money back. He sent me a check, no problem.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
And yet,
it wasn't that easy.
You mentioned his name on some of these belt sites, and oh my God, it's like you had Adolf Hitler make you a belt.
Yep, it's a very stingy, picky life or hobby to collect belts because it's never what you want it to be. So,
nope. I got my copy of the Missouri title belt, and that's the one I got. It's a boot. I know it's a boot. I know it's made by our wacky packy friends, but you know, I still got it. Hey. It looked good. I got it displayed, and that's the way it stays. You know,
if it's what you wanted and it lives up to your standards, what everybody else thinks, they can kick rocks and suck eggs.
Exactly. I mean, you know, I got my ring worn belt. I collect ring worn stuff. You know, I collect ring worn belts, and the belt I had was used in a California promotion. It was used in Max, which is more closer to my heart, but it was a American Championship belt.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person to hold it, from what I could tell, from what I could look up, was Greg Valentine.
Oh wow!
It's for a group called AAW out in California that basically did one show, folded, and nobody ever saw it again. But you know, I thought that was kind of a cool lineage, and
you can't.
I actually showed it to Greg Gagne at the first Fan Fest they had here in St. Louis with Herb Simmons and and his group. He put on the first Fan Fest, and showed the belt to Greg Gagne, and I said, "Hey, does this look familiar?"
Oh wow.
And he said, "Yeah, it does." He said, "Looks like," it looks like my old AWA TV championship or whatever it was, international television title.
Yeah.
I said, "No, it's not. It was American," and I showed him close-ups of it. He's like, "Oh my God, I don't believe they did that." I said, "Yeah, that's exactly like the belt you had. You probably still."
That's crazy.
I
So
only wanted 25 grand for it too. Told him, "Shoot, I'll make you a deal on my beat up old belt. I'll sell it to you for 5 grand."
there you go.
Yeah.
So we are definitely going to have you come back on. Again, congratulations on the Hall of Fame nod for the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. We want to thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. If you're tuning in now, you missed the first portion of this episode, you can catch it on YouTube and Facebook. We will also drop the link for tickets for the actual event later on in July in the comments below. I want to give a massive shout out to our sponsors, Rocket Pro Wrestling, Rocket Entertainment, Kiriyoshi Entertainment. I want to give a massive thank you once again to Butch Fletcher. I want to say thank you to the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame for allowing us to be partnered with them this year. It has been nothing but a dream come true for us.
Hell yeah.
We want to thank Industry Tap House for letting us come out and watch wrestling every Monday. And again, we want to thank all of you fans. We want to thank the Chatterhead Nation for all your support. We got big things coming. But again, ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer, two-time Hall of Famer with almost 42-time with a almost 40-plus year career, the Black Glove Butch Fletcher. Thank you so much, sir. And absolutely looking forward to having you come back on with us.
Hey, I it's a pleasure, man, and I'd love to be back here again too. And I want to also throw in too, the promoter in me is telling me I can't leave without putting the tag on here too. The tickets for this thing are going. So if you don't want to be disappointed, pick up your tickets for this thing because it's great. It's going to be great.
Hell yeah.
And we get a promo out of them. We got story time and a promo out of them.
Hell yeah.
To a lot of the locals here, there's a lot of people in the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame that it'll blow your mind. It really will.
I'm looking forward to keeping this partnership up. I can't wait for next year. We're all going to try to come down next year for the big event and actually be there with you guys. And I'm excited. Yeah. This has been a great experience so far. So again, sir, thank you very much. I know you said you had a little bit of a summer cold going on. I hope you feel better. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your Hall of Fame. I'm looking forward to seeing pictures and videos. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, two-time Hall of Famer, the Black Glove Butch Fletcher. I am the Pointer Boy along with Tommy Guns. This has been your Midweek Meltdown. Until next week, y'all stay golden.